for joining us at Clayton Memorial Unitarian Universalist Church in Newberry, South Carolina. I wrenched my back out on Wednesday, and so standing is very uncomfortable, so I'm going to be sitting I will remain seated for the remainder of the show. So I'm here, and that's going to have to be good enough. So are we up? Or is it working? Technology, you know, when it works, it's fantastic. When it doesn't, it's not working. Is it not on? Yeah, usually if you use that link, it should pop right up. It should be the right one. If I've crossed all of my fingers and toes and done the right thing. Is it up? All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Huh? Oh, yeah. First, if we have any announcements that you might want to share with us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, next week we'll be by Zoom, and we'll have a guest speaker, Carol Black. It'll be Mother's Day, so we'll be looking forward to that message. And then on the third Sunday, the service will be led by the Universalist Convocation. We're hosting them for a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's still time to register. We sent the link out on Facebook and email. But $15 for Friday, Saturday, covered lunch, and all participation. So anyway, y'all come. That's the 16, 17, 18 of May.
All right.
Okay.
15, 16, 17. Okay. Okay. So May 15, 16, and 17 will be the Universalist Convocation here in Newberry. Registration's $15, so just come and join us for that. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday they'll be doing the service. So.
I'm also going to add that one of their features, they've actually talked a lot to Stephen from the museum, who obviously we did that Zoom.
Yeah.
We talked about history, and because of the Dunkers in Newberry, Newberry actually is considered kind of a center of Universalism. So
Ah.
an immense amount of research, and they have several people who are coming to speak on the history, and so it actually ends up that a lot of Universalists down out of Newberry. So it's going to be pretty rich with that kind of history. So
All right. Yeah, lots of history of Universalists, especially here in Newberry. So yeah, join us. All right. So we, as we light our chalice this morning, thanks to Dave. As we light our chalice, we're reminded of the first fire, the divine spark of inspiration and creation, the Big Bang, the spoken word, the start of love eternal. As its flames fills our world with light and life, water then receives it. Fire lights up and invigorates us with purpose, while water helps us settle down into being. When water touches light, it reflects, refracts, and disperses. Water lets us feel and know what it is to be alive. Water sinks into our cracks and fills us from our lowest parts. May the first water in our first cup of communion invite us to change and stability and the remembrance of all the love it washes over us. And our opening song this morning is from Peter Mayer. This is his song, Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Oh yeah. Join together in our unison affirmation. We affirm that love is our greatest purpose. Accepting one another is the truest form of faithful living. The search for truth is our constant star. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as a beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. And today we're going to do our water communion, this purple vase here, if you have water that you have brought with you. If not, just run to the bathroom. We can fill up your hands or something. But water is a wondrous thing, and in this water ceremony, we ask that you bring water from somewhere that you've visited or a place that's special to you, and we all just pour our special water here into this one big bowl. And the plan is to use the water collected to nourish the Carpathian walnut tree that Bill and Julie Gregg ordered for us to plant in memory of and in honor of those who have served in war in Ukraine. And the Carpathian walnut tree is a native to Ukraine. And when we combine everyone's water from all these different places, we also think about the faith that we share. Our Unitarian Universalist faith also comes from many different sources. As Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern writes, the core symbol of the water communion is that we all come from water. As a species on a planet where life began in the ocean, as mammals who float in amniotic fluid, as we are readied for birth, as beings whose cells are mostly water, we are separate and together. The way water scatters into rain and streams and clouds and springs and ponds and puddles, and yet flows together again and again, one great planetary ocean. Not only is no drop of water superior to another, all water comes from the same place. Carolyn McDade and Lucille Schenck Longview, who created a worship service for the Women in World Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists in 1990, wrote this about water. Water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence. Acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came, it is the womb of life, and that amniotic waters surround us, each of us prenatally. We now realize that this worship service was for us a new story of creation. We choose water as our symbol of empowerment. And verse 78 in the Tao Te Ching says, "Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice." So let us bring our water to the bowl And as we do, I invite you to tell us where it's from, why it's special or important to you. And may we remember we celebrate the many different sources of our faith in this special water ceremony. I know, it's oh, all right. What water do you bring?
This water, I recently went on a yoga retreat to Dominica it's an island in the West Indies. And drinking plenty of water, but a lot of water that we were in was straight out of the mountain, straight out of the land, volcanic, which they had boiling lake, they had hot springs, and I mean, and pools and places we could go and get in it and this, that, and the other. It was wonderful, and it's got the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, so both of those around this island. So anyway, this was my drinking water from Dominica.
Drinking water from Dominica in the West Indies. Beautiful.
I'll add that in there.
Wonderful.
And then this water was collected from last year's water communion water. So I've kept some from what we collected. So I'm bringing it forward.
And that's water from our last communion. I'm narrating for the people who can't hear online. That is water from our last water communion. And Dave has taken my advice.
I think that we take it for granted that we've got water coming into our houses and into our buildings. It's the infrastructure that keeps us alive, and without it, imagine what your life would be like. You couldn't just get water out of the tap. Where do you have to go? What do you have to do
Right.
just to get enough?
We are grateful for water from the tap. I'm grateful for plumbing and plumbers. All right. Wonderful. All right. Oh, one more. All right.
Some other water that will come from this is that we have, as part of our water communion, is to have a special collection to fund a water well, a shallow well in Africa for potable water, and it's by a medical, Marian Medical Mission. And so it's physicians who truly value health, and so it's funding potable water in Africa. And it's a well that will be sustained by the villagers. They make the bricks, I mean, it's a whole process, but it's a system that can be sustained and very useful. So this water will become, part of this ceremony will become part of that water.
All right. Yes, and we use funds collected during the water ceremony to help with potable water villages in Africa. Excellent.
So this is water from our gathering place, where we come together in covenant with our community.
Right. Water from our community, yes. Beautiful. All right. All right. To let us remember that we are all water. We all come from water. We're all just water, thinking we have problems. And so we need to learn how to flow better and flow around the things that we think are problems. This is a song called by Billy Jonas called To Be One. If you want to be one with the water, dance with the river, sing with the sea. And if you want to be one with the air, rage with the thunder and whisper to me when you're ready to become. Stand strong and surrender when you're ready to be one. If you want to be one with the earth, melt with the mountains, shift with the sand. And if you want to be one with the fire, burn all your bridges and reach for my hand when you're ready to become. Stand strong and surrender when you're ready to be one. If you want to be one with the infinite, spin with the planets, shine with the stars. And if you want to be one with the Spirit, surrender. You already are when you're ready to become. Stand strong and surrender when you're ready to be one. If you want to be one, if you want to be one, if you want to be one. All right. And so now we move to our joys and concerns. If you have something to share, whether it is something wonderful or something that you need prayer and assistance on, please come and put a rock in the bowl and share your joys and concerns. And for our folks on the YouTube, you won't be able to hear this because we don't want to broadcast personal things. So. Go get some rocks, Percy. All right, thanks everyone for sharing. We appreciate that, and for those who are not here and not able to share, we join in unity with their joys and concerns as well. And oh, Dave, you got comfortable. Can you do the offering for me? We'll pass the offering plate, and there are ways for you to, if you're watching and you'd like to support us, you can use this phone number to use PayPal or Zelle to 803-331-1476, or that's 803-331-1476, or you can send us cash or a check to Clayton Memorial UU, 334 Clayton Memorial Church Road. That's easy to remember. Newberry, South Carolina, 29108. All right, we have a new offering taker. Thank you, Percy. Wonderful. All right, everybody breathe deeply. I have a few readings before we talk about wanting to give up when you think about giving up. From the Hebrew Scriptures, Genesis 32:22 through 30. The same night he got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 maids, and his 11 children, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and then sent them across the stream, and likewise everything that he had. And so Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he struck him on the hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint. I feel like Jacob right now, because he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the day is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." And the man said, "You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with humans and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And there he blessed him. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life is preserved." From the Jesus story, Luke 18:1 through 8. Then Jesus told them a parable about their need to pray always and not to lose heart. He said, "In a certain city there was a judge who never feared God nor had respect for people. In that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, 'Grant me justice against my opponent.' For a while he refused, but later the judge said to himself, 'Though I have no fear of God and no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will grant her justice, so that she may not wear me out by continually coming.' And the Lord said, 'Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?'" And from A Course in Miracles, chapter 17, "It is still up to you to choose to join with truth or with illusion. But remember that to choose one is to let the other go. Which one you choose, you will endow with beauty and reality, because the choice depends on which you value more, the spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness, the real world or the world of guilt and fear, truth or illusion, freedom or slavery. It is all the same. For you can never choose except between God and the ego. Thought systems are but true or false, and all their attributes come simply from what they are. Only the thoughts of God are true, and all that follows from them comes from what they are, and it is as true as the holy source from which they came." Breathe deeply. That's a lot. Back in the late 1960s and 70s, 2 psychologists ran a series of experiments that, while ethically suspect for the time, revealed some very important information. The researchers used both dogs and rats and put them in electrified cages. In one instance, the animals could escape the shock, but in another group, the animals were unable to avoid being shocked. So what happened was this: the animals who were unable to avoid the unpleasant shock eventually just came to tolerate them. And when they were put in cages where they could avoid the shock, they didn't. They just laid there and endured the pain. The experiment was later replicated with humans, though they didn't use electric shocks. Instead, the people were exposed to loud noises. And some could press a button and turn the noise off, while others just had no way to escape the racket. What do you think happened? Well, the human animals reacted in much the same way as dogs and rats. Those who could not escape the noise, simply just started to tolerate it, even when they were finally given the opportunity to avoid it. The researchers named this phenomenon learned helplessness. We give in to this psychological state when we see no way to avoid the dilemma that we face. And psychologists often see this as the root cause of depression and anxiety. We see no way out, so we just give up. And sadly, we see this kind of affliction growing in our society right now. But with the daily onslaught of outrage coming from Washington and other areas of political leadership in this country, who could blame us for just shutting down and giving up? We, like those dogs and rats, we are repeatedly receiving shocks to our system. And you know what? Over the past decade or so, we've just gotten used to it. So much so that many of us just can't even muster the energy but do something other than just shrug and go, what you gonna do? Another day, another outrage. Who can blame us for just stepping away from the news, numbing ourselves, drowning our attention in Netflix, latest celebrity gossip? If we see no way out of the situation, we got to find something to numb the pain so we just can keep on surviving at least. Learned helplessness. It's often easier than just fighting back. At least that's what the ego wants us to believe. So consider the case of Jacob. Here is a guy who's got every reason to give up, to give in to that learned helplessness. Before we get to his great wrestling match on that night, you got to know the full story, or as Paul Harvey used to say, you got to know the rest of the story. Jacob was a wily fellow, and he had convinced his seconds older twin brother Esau to sell his birthright to him for a bowl of stew. However, on his deathbed, his father Isaac was set to restore that birthright to the firstborn Esau, but his mother helped Jacob trick the old man into bestowing that blessing on Jacob. And this, of course, enraged Esau, who swore to kill his brother. So Jacob fled to the land of Laban to live with his uncle's people. And after years in Laban, Jacob became homesick. He wanted to come home. And so he sent a message to his murderous brother, and the messenger reported that Esau was getting ready to come and meet his brother. And he was going to bring an army of about 400 guys. And this surprisingly did not make Jacob feel all warm and fuzzy about this coming reunion with his brother Esau. So as the scripture reading tells us, he takes his family across the Jabbok River, presumably so they could be safe from 400 guys and Jacob's brother, who appeared to be on the warpath. So Jacob is left all alone to wrestle with whatever it was that attacks him in the night. Now, some interpretive traditions say that Jacob wrestled with an angel. Others say that it was God, incarnated for the occasion in the flesh. But from a metaphysical point of view, I would say that Jacob's wrestling match is the same one that we all have over and over again in our lives. It is the struggle between love and fear. It is the struggle between the two worlds we seem to live in, the reality of that higher divine self or this bodily illusion. And if we're willing to engage in the struggle, to overcome our learned helplessness, what we find is this. Much like me trying to lift weight that was too heavy this past week, we come up lame. But what gets mortally wounded in this struggle between love and fear is not really our body, it's just our ego. Every time we are willing to engage in this battle, every time we are willing to question the fearful thoughts and beliefs that our ego wants to heap onto us. Oh, the world is never going to change. Oh, everybody's evil. Oh, woe is us. Every time we struggle against that, our higher divine self is strengthened and our ego is weakened. But it's so tempting. Oh, I know every day I have the battle. It's tempting to just surrender, to give in to learned helplessness and abandon all hope. But what Jacob's struggle teaches is this: we can't let any moment of life slip away from us. Instead, we have to engage in the struggle between love and fear until we walk this earth with an ego with a very pronounced limp. In our Jesus story, our guy gives us an object lesson on the value of persistence, of not giving up. He tells the story about a judge. And this judge was a guy who was so powerful he did not fear anyone, not even God. And he had no respect for anyone who wasn't him. I don't know, that sounds really familiar today. I can think of a guy, at least one. But anyway, this judge, he kept being challenged by a woman, a widow who wanted justice against an opponent. And I swear sometimes, the scriptures, it just seems to take pleasure in trolling us in our modern day. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But anyway, this story in particular has been avoided like the plague by pastors for many, many reasons, mainly because the traditional reading puts God in the position of the unjust judge. And it's used to teach us that we have to continually just bother the hell out of God to get any justice in the world. And it sets us up to believe in either a fickle God who has to be hounded into doing the right thing, or an egotistical or sadistic God that just loves to hear us pray fervently and persistently. Either way, it's just not a God, it's not a good look for God. But if we look at the context of this passage, I think we can see a deeper meaning that encourages persistence on our part without making God to come off like a colossal jerk. First, historically, this widow, she has no standing at all to come and plead her case before a judge. The legal system in Jesus' time was very different and even more patriarchal than our current system. Women couldn't just go to the courthouse and file a complaint. In fact, women were barred from even giving testimony in court. I mean, as you know, women were unreliable. Their movements were restricted in public, and unless they had a man to speak for them, they wouldn't even be recognized. Nevertheless, she persisted. And this tells you how incredibly bold this woman was. There was not an ounce of helplessness in this woman's body, learned or otherwise. So after her persistent and daily bold hounding of this justice, this judge, he finally relents. But he doesn't do it out of a sense of compassion or justice for her plight. Instead, he only does it so he'll be left alone. He gives up, which I'm thinking is instructional for us in this time. Because we're not going to get anything appealing to compassion or justice. But if we're loud enough, persistent enough, even unjust judges give up. But here's the other lesson from this story. God is not the unjust judge. We are. We're the unjust judge in any moment. That we are walking around in our ego convinced that we are right and everyone else is wrong. We are the unjust judge when we refuse to struggle with love that challenges us to be the loving and compassionate presence in this world. The widow is anything that challenges our ego's sense of superiority or inferiority in the world. The ego, the widow, is the call of love. The widow is the call of love from everyone who seeks to challenge us to wrestle with our own ego and how it controls us. Love calls us in the form of friends and loved ones and strangers, and perhaps most often enemies, whose outrageous actions tempt us to retreat further into the ego's belief that whatever we do, it won't matter anyway. The electric shocks will keep on coming. The ego fears neither God nor man because it created God in its own image anyway. But the only thing it does fear is love. That holy love that hounds us to do justice, to walk humbly in this world as divine instruments of peace and compassion. Our ego, that unjust judge, it wants no truck with that kind of living because it's invested in being right and being seen as our protector because it convinces us that only it can judge what's right and wrong. And if we take a look around this world that this ego collectively we've created with the other egos around us, we can begin to hear the widow calling out, begging repeatedly for us to grant that justice. That love appears as a flower growing in a crack in the gutter. It shows us the true beauty that is available to us if we only will hear the call for love and allow it to wound our prideful and fearful ego. Breathe deeply. And now the rest of the story. Martin Seligman, one of the psychologists who conducted those earlier experiences and coined the term learned helplessness, he also discovered the cure. He found that by training people in resilience practices, he could transform learned helplessness into learned optimism. This method involves changing our self-talk around adverse events. Instead of seeing someone who, for instance, cuts us off in traffic, instead of seeing them as a rude jerk who ruins our day, we can look at things differently. We can instead see them as someone who maybe has a situation in their life and they're in a hurry. They're not mindful of their actions. I saw a guy coming in today. He kept swerving. It was like he was looking for something and he jerked in the other. And I'm like, I got to get around this guy. Jerk? What you doing? But if we project a malevolent story on a person, who does that hurt? That's us. But instead, if we can see them through the eyes of compassion, that's the meat of the lesson today. Because it's telling us that when we feel like giving up, we should. We should give up. Absolutely. We should give up any story that teaches us that we are helpless in the face of what's happening around us. We should give that up. This is the widower calling out to the unjust judge of our ego, calling us to give up its judgments, to give up its fear, to give up its stories of us versus them, and realize there's only one of us here. This is the call to give up our belief in the illusion of fear. This is the call to live like Jacob, willing to fight the battle between love and fear within ourselves. Because when we're willing to do that, we will experience that miracle just like Jacob. You see, when he finally did meet his brother, who indeed showed up with an army of 400 burly warriors, his brother Esau, instead of killing his brother, he ran to meet him And Esau embraced him, and he wept, and he gave Jacob some big sloppy kisses and welcomed him home. Now, it may be noted that before this reunion, Jacob had sent Esau a lot of gifts. He sent, according to the scriptures, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. No lords a leaping, but I mean, that's a lot. Certainly, Jacob knew the value of a good gift. But in the metaphysical sense, what Jacob really did was this. He sent his love before him to Esau. And Esau felt that love so deeply that all he could do was forgive his brother and welcome him home. This is the blessing in the struggle. When love struggles with our fear and wounds our ego, we immediately broadcast more love into the world than we did just a moment before the struggle. And if we keep struggling with love, and if we keep allowing it to wound our ego, eventually we become nothing but love. But as A Course in Miracles reminds us, if we really want to give up the ego and stop being that unjust judge, we can't do it halfway. We have to totally give up on the illusion and its lies. We must constantly listen for and heed the widow's call of love so that we can become those instruments of justice and love and peace in this world, especially to those in this world who say we have no standing to receive such mercy. And so the choice really is ours. As the Course says, we're going to choose whichever one we value more. Do we value the spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness? The real world or the world of guilt and fear? Truth or illusion? Freedom or slavery? It's all the same. For whatever you choose, you can never choose except between God and the ego. And all we ever have, my friends, is this moment. This is the only time we get to choose in every moment. So don't let that slip away. Instead, I invite you, choose wisely. Oh, yeah. I'm going to sing, and then if we have any thoughts, we'll let our folks go, and then we'll do that. This is a song from Neil Young, and this is one I'm not a big fan of Neil Young, but this song is great. Instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle for where we're going. There's something up ahead worth looking for. When the line of time is on us, we will see our moment come, and the living soul inside will carry on. It's a chance to give new meaning to every move we made through the caverns and the caves where we come from. When the light of dawn is on us, we will see what we can be, and the ancient ones can sleep an easy sleep. In the hallways of the ages, on the road to history, what we do now will always be with us. It's a chance to give new meaning to every move we made through the caverns and the caves where we come from. Instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle for where we're going. There's something up ahead worth looking for. When the line of time is on us, we will see our moment come, and the living soul inside will carry on. Light a candle in the darkness so others might see ahead. Light a candle in the darkness when you go. Oh yeah. And Dave, if you'll turn off our closing words from Amy Zucker Morgenstern, who we heard from earlier in the water ceremony as we put out our chalice. May all hours together be blessed as this one has been, by open-hearted sharing, learning from one another, and making beautiful harmonies together. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship until we meet again. Blessed be. Our closing song. Go forth in peace, eager on the move, saying no to falsehood and unkindness, standing up for justice, giving all we have, thinking, loving, serving. That's a go forth in peace. I'm threatening to change the key on that song. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us online and in here. And we'll see you online next week. Oh, yeah.